So yeah, give Luke a hand. He was in New York about 10 hours ago. I've never met somebody who travels so much. And thanks also for ruining my introduction. So you mentioned that we're all here on a sweltering hot day in London. So I'm Dave Rosowsky. I'm in from Las Vegas. And I was going to say thank you for having me here on a beautiful, cool spring day here in London. So I am, let me get to the beginning. So I'm Dave Rosowsky, like I said. I'm with Joystick. We're a US creative agency. And we're excited to have joined NMPi and DQ&A, their family, to begin working to reinvent what it means to be a customer-centric digital marketing specialist. And we feel like it's a really exciting time in digital marketing. Why? Because I'd like to propose that we are in the midst of a creative renaissance in digital. Just like the advent of one-point perspective transformed media in the 15th century, we're at a time where we have a unique opportunity to bring together media, creative, and technology in a way that has never been done before. The intersection between media, creative, and technology is definitely not a new thought. However, over the years, what we've seen is a tension between them. Technology supported one or the other, but seldom both. As new technology becomes available, we focus our energy on the technology itself. As the technology matures, we can then focus on other things. Professor Clay Shirky, who studies how technology affects society, has an interesting theory that I think resonates with our industry. The tools we use don't get interesting until they get technologically boring. It isn't when the shiny new tools show up that their uses start permeating society. It's when everybody is able to take them for granted. And I think this is precisely where we are at this point with programmatic. So let me explain real quickly with a walkthrough time. In the beginning, we had banner ads. So in 1994, the first banner ad was ushered in the digital advertising age. And these ads were super cool, set on a backdrop of what at the time was basically web pages full of text. And they performed well. This ad right here did a 44% click-through rate, something that we will not see ever again. These were the days of animated GIFs, 468 by 60s, Punch the Monkey, if anyone remembers that, and those tricky warning ads that made it look like there was an error with our computer and got us to click on them. I'm sure some of you remember those. In 1996, DoubleClick launched, and shortly thereafter, they released their pioneering ad server, Dart. So now we had the technology in place to serve banners at scale, and the banner ad rush was on. So over the next few years, publishers started reworking their sites to add banner inventory, networks started to form, and a full banner delivery ecosystem blossomed. By 2000, the technology and the infrastructure were in place to allow us to deliver banners at scale. And a new creative role had emerged, the banner ad designer. So we were at a point where technology and creative were in balance. And some really interesting things started to happen. So let me share one of them with you. In the late 90s, TWA made a deal with Carl Icahn called the Karuba Ticket Agreement, which allowed him to purchase any ticket connecting through St. Louis for 55 cents on the dollar and resell them at a discount, basically half-price airline tickets. The deal blocked him from using travel agents, which, if you remember back then, really the only way you could get an airline ticket was either from a travel agent or from booking directly with the airline. But what the deal didn't mention was the internet. So Carl Icahn started lowestfare.com and started selling tickets online. By August of 2000, lowestfare.com was one of the largest DoubleClick advertisers, nearly outspending all competitors in their vertical combined. The experience was simple, yet effective. They drove people to the website using banner ads and offered deals no other airline could match. It is estimated that this cost TWA about $100 million per year. And on December 1st of 2001, TWA went out of business and flew their last flight, all because of the banner ad. So next up is rich media and social. By 2001, Flash had hit the scene and rich media was emerging. We had companies like PointRoll, iBlaster, who became MediaMind, who became Seismic, who's about to become something else, and Unicast, all racing to create the next great formats. Flash and rich media would usher in the age of high-impact creative. During this period, we saw the launch of the ad exchanges and DSPs, so we'll call that the rise of modern ad technology. By 2006, social media was starting to reach scale, and the platforms were opening up to advertisers. So at that time, MySpace was still a thing. I'm sure some of you guys remember Tom. He was everybody's first follower. And Facebook was well on its way to reaching more than, I think, almost 1.5 billion users worldwide. So we had scale in ad and social technologies, as well as a proliferation of high-impact creative. And this set the stage for something big, which was the US presidential election. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard some variation of this story, but it really does illustrate well what we can be accomplished if we are putting together creative media and technology. So what might be a little bit hard to believe is that when Obama announced his candidacy around February of 2007, he was little known outside of the state of Illinois. It took his team about 8 months to ramp up their digital efforts. But by October of 2017, their website, My Obama, was dialed in. Their social activities were in full swing, and they were just getting started with banners. In January of 2008, Obama made a strong showing. That's when we do our first set of voting there. But he was up against some really well-funded candidates, and he had certainly not won the nomination yet. That month, the campaign placed 70 million display ads online, much more than any of the other candidates were doing. They used mostly Flash and rich media for this. And their goal was to drive traffic to the sites for donations and also for list building. In February of 2008, just 1 month later, Obama set a record in American politics by garnering $55 million in donations. By July of 2008, the campaign had raised more than $200 million more from just online donations. So, and then, as everybody knows, in November, we elected Obama our president, and this was become the first presidential election in the US that was won digitally. So the final leg on our journey through time is programmatic. In 2010, programmatic and RTB were still fledgling technologies. We saw the rise of the open exchanges and the beginning of the shift away from traditional IO-based media buying. In 2012, we got Bid Manager, and this ushered in a new era of programmatic delivery. As has been common with all emerging technologies, we as an industry put our focus on the technology. So first we learn how it works, what the possibilities are, training all of our teams en masse to be able to support these technologies, learning about delivery, audiences, data, and just about everything that's out there except for creative. And in many ways, it brought us back to the early days of banner ads. Static display comprising a high percentage of impressions, and high-impact creative pushed out of the mainstream and into a few fringe worlds of the premium networks. So this overdependence on standard IAB sizes and uninteresting creative made it feel like a low point for creative in general. But actually, this was a very necessary step in the evolution of digital. And that brings us to today, which is why I'm proposing that we're in the midst of a creative renaissance in digital. Programmatic is getting interesting now that the technology is getting boring. And this is the time for creative to shine. This renaissance is going to be driven by data delivered programmatically across a multitude of channels and can be tracked, analyzed, and reported on. And of course, it's fueled by creative. So here are a few things that I think will have a major contribution to the renaissance. The first is the growth of programmatic media channels. Some really interesting channels are on the rise, like video, OTT, audio, even digital out of home. By having the technology in place to deliver across all mediums, we can now focus on what can be done creatively to bring our ideas to life. Publishers are going to give us the canvas that we need. Publishers need to take more responsibility for how ad inventory appears on their pages and ensure that ad serving experience is much more consistent and clean, one which balances experience and impact. We're also going to see scale in programmatic direct, which opens up premium inventory and increases our opportunities to deliver visually compelling creative. Creative will not only become more personalized, but it will become more personalized across all of the channels that we're working with. That's in contrast to today, where only about 3% of companies are buying display programmatically and always using dynamic creative optimization. This will drive experience in things like video and OTT that we're just starting to realize. High-impact formats are going to make a resurgence. So this is something near and dear to the folks at Joystick. We're currently working to certify multiple high-impact formats for programmatic delivery through the Google Marketing Platform. We're also working with our publisher partners to ensure we have the inventory available to serve these ads into them. Data, technology, and analytics will enable collaboration between media, creative experiences in new ways. And I think this is actually what the Google Marketing Platform is trying to do. It's one of the primary drivers also for our partnership now with NMPi and DQ&A. So we know we cannot depend on the optimization of media alone to move the needle. Media enables us to reach the right person, but when you reach them, it has to be a great experience. Creative is the answer. Creating experiences that delight the user is the answer. There's never been a better time where we've had more powerful tools to deliver experiences that delight our audience. Together, we can make this creative renaissance a reality. So thanks for taking the time to listen, and I'm going to leave you with a short video clip of what Joystick is doing with shoppable ads, augmented reality, and voice.
Hey there. Things like, Alexa, turn on the lights, and see what it's like to control your home hands-free.
Alexa, set the mood.
Okay, good lucky charm are you?
Is this weird? Did I make it weird? I made it weird.
Hi. Just say things like, Alexa, good morning, and see what it's like to control your kitchen hands-free. Alexa, turn on the coffee maker.
Okay,